Is a recession starting right now? Or is this just another moment where the economy feels worse than it actually is? Because something feels different this time. It's not panic. It's not collapse. It's more like pressure building quietly underneath everything. And most people can feel it, even if they can't explain it. Let's start with what's happening right now. Global geopolitical tension has picked up again, especially around the USA and Iran situation. Now, markets don't react to war in a simple way. They react to uncertainty, because uncertainty changes expectations, and expectations are what actually move the economy before anything physically changes. One of the first places this shows up is oil. Not because oil is just a commodity, but because oil is the foundation of movement in the global economy. Shipping, transportation, manufacturing, food production, everything depends on it in some way. So when oil becomes unstable or spikes because of geopolitical fear, it doesn't just affect energy prices. It spreads pressure across the entire system. But here's the key point most people miss. The damage doesn't need to happen yet. The expectation of disruption is enough. Because businesses don't wait for reality, they react early. If companies expect higher costs, they adjust immediately. They reduce spending, they slow hiring. And that's how economic pressure starts building, not through a crash, but through hesitation. Now layer that with something else still in the system: interest rates. Even though inflation has cooled compared to its peak, rates are still relatively high. And that matters more than people think, because high rates don't just affect banks or investors. They affect everyday decisions. Loans are more expensive. Debt is harder to manage. Business financing becomes stricter. So even without a crisis, the system is already operating under tighter conditions. Now, imagine this happening at the same time as rising geopolitical tension and oil uncertainty. That combination creates something important. Not a recession instantly, but a slowdown in behavior. Because economies don't fall suddenly, they slow first, quietly, through decisions that seem small individually, but massive collectively. Consumers become more careful, businesses become more defensive, risk appetite starts to shrink. And when that happens consistently across millions of decisions, growth slows down. Now, here's where it gets more interesting. Markets don't wait for official confirmation of this. They price it in early. Because markets are not looking at what is happening now, they are constantly trying to price what is likely to happen next. So when uncertainty rises, markets start adjusting before the economy actually shows weakness in the data. That's why sometimes it feels like markets react too early or even overreact. But in reality, they are responding to expectations shifting under the surface. And this is where the confusion begins for most people, because the economy might still look okay in official numbers, while behavior underneath is already changing. Slower spending, lower confidence, more cautious decisions. These don't show up immediately in reports, but they show up in reality. And over time, they matter more than the reports. Now bring everything together. Right now, we are seeing geopolitical tension increasing uncertainty, oil reacting to that uncertainty, high interest rates still restricting financial flexibility, and markets starting to price future risk earlier. Individually, none of these guarantee a recession, but together they create pressure. And recessions are rarely caused by one event. They are usually the result of multiple pressures building at the same time. Now, the important part, this does not mean the economy is collapsing, and it does not mean a recession is officially here. But it does mean something more subtle. The conditions that usually come before recession-like environments are starting to appear. Slowdowns don't begin with headlines, they begin with behavior, and behavior is already shifting. So the real question is not just, is a recession starting right now?
The real question is how long can the system absorb this pressure before it becomes visible in the data everyone watches later? Because by the time it shows up officially, the market and the economy have usually already moved on.